Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and today's game review. Today I'm going to be reviewing a very well-known game actually. It's called Final Fantasy VII. Now, there are a lot of people who have discussed this game to extreme extents. Could I do that? Absolutely. I've played through this game 6 times. And probably started it a dozen times. There's not very many games that I do that with. And this is one of them. So I guess what I can do is I could tell you, kind of like my history of this game, or how I played this game in that respect, and how I got so many different playthroughs out of it. The first time I played this game, I just basically played through the main story. I didn't get Vincent. I didn't get Yuffie. I did get Cid. And when it came to the large materia, I want to say I only collected 2 of the 4 the first time. The second time I played through it, that was the time that I decided I wanted to breed Kookaboos, anyway, whatever they're called, Chocobos. So that I could get the master summon materia. I wanted to get all the master materias actually, and I didn't even know how to do that yet. But I ended up actually getting all 4 of the large materias that time. I did get Yuffie, I got Vincent, I got Cid, and I did their side quests, and that stuff, and I ended up with all 4 of the large crystals the second time around. I did breed the Kookaboos, and the first time I played this game, I would say it probably took me 100 hours to get through it. The second time I played it, because I wanted to do this to get all the different types of Chocobos, Kookaboos, whatever they're called. The birds, we'll go with that. Probably a little over 200 hours I spent trying to do all that. You gotta get a lot of gil. You gotta buy a lot of greens. You gotta buy a lot of expensive greens. There's a lot to actually doing all that. Then you gotta race your birds and get their levels up, and yeah, and it all started because I wanted to get some, what is it called, GP. You get gil in the game, but the only thing that's accepted as currency at the Golden Saucer is GP. And there's only a couple of ways to get GP. Either play the video games or race birds. Well, I tried playing the video games and they are incredibly difficult. I mean, you can get pretty good at like the one where you're fighting on a motorbike, and there's a couple others, don't get me wrong. The subway game, or no, subway. Submarine game you can get pretty good at. The rest of them I never got any good at. So, truly the reason that I wanted to do the birds was so that I could get some GP. And I didn't even know why I wanted GP, to be honest with you. So I spent like 250 hours doing all that the second time around. The third time around, I don't remember exactly what I was going after, but I know I tried to do some of the bosses, the super bosses that are in the game. There's 2 of them. And of course I failed at them horribly. But it was my 4th playthrough where I actually got all 3 master materia from the crystals, because I actually found all the materia throughout the game and leveled it all up and did what I needed to. And that's when I learned about the the quest from the old man in Calm, which is truly the hardest quest in the game. Because your objective is to, well, you got to take out both of the ultimate weapons that remain. And you got to turn a ship into something. I think it's a book. It's an insane quest. It truly is. But you get another set of master materia out of it. And I know that you could just sit there and keep taking materia to the crystals and get it that way too. But his quest truly gives more reason to get a second set of master materia. And to complete that quest, I'm going to say I probably played 400 hours. It was an insane amount of time that I sank into this game to try to get all that done and get those things defeated. So, yeah, I mean, you can sink thousands of hours into this game easily. And I think that's one of the reasons it's enjoyed and has been enjoyed for many years, is because you can play the game once and realize when you get done with it that there was a lot of stuff you missed, and you know you missed it. And then you can come back through it and play it again and try to figure out how to get to the stuff that you missed in that respect. Like, how do you find Yuffie? Like, how do you get to Vincent? Like, these sorts of things. So, truly, the more you play this game, the more opens up to you in that respect, because you realize that there's actually more to do. I think the first few times that I played this game, and I would hear the quest, from the old man, he would tell you to go get these things, and I'm just like, I've played through this game like twice. I've never even heard of the stuff you're talking about. Where the heck am I supposed to find these 3 items that, as far as I was concerned, don't exist? It's pretty funny. But yeah, that's why people like this game, is because of moments like that, where you're trying to figure stuff out and you truly have no idea. So yeah, I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII. I still do today. I've played the remake, and they subvert a lot of the story. They really do. They change the motivations for a lot of the characters with the remake, and I don't know how I feel about that. I know it doesn't feel right to do it that way. The original game was much more... It was grittier, is a way of putting it. It still had a sense of realism to it, you could say. And I know they tried to keep that with the remake, don't get me wrong, and I could tell that they were trying to, but by removing the grittiness, you also remove some of that realness. It's kind of a conundrum. But yeah. The original game I liked because it was designed for teenagers and it was designed for adults by how they designed it. And I realized that the graphics, the lack of graphics in that respect, made that even easier for them to kind of blur those two lines. And this game is definitely a game that blurs the lines between what should be made for children and what should be made for adults, because there are a lot of adult themes in this game, especially the original one. And the same thing with Final Fantasy VIII. I mean, Final Fantasy XV. There's definitely some Final Fantasies out there with some pretty adult themes in them. But anyway, yeah, Final Fantasy VII. It's a game that I've played many, many times. I'll probably play several more times throughout my life. It's just something that you can always go back to and enjoy. There's always something new to figure out and find. Or a new way to do things, or a new way to combine your materia. I mean, the game just gives you so many options. So, yeah. If you haven't played it, I would suggest playing the original Final Fantasy VII. It's definitely one of the better games out there. Well, that's my rant for the day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.